somebody that has been in localization forever, I think, and internationalization. And I think what makes Daniel different is that it's kind of his personal history and where he's been living and the kinds of projects in terms of his professional life that he has been involved in. And he's been involved in, not in the easy projects, but more in more complicated projects like Double Wide, Right to Left, and stuff like that. That at least some years ago were not so mainstream. A lot has changed now, of course. What has been called the emerging markets, I think, surely emerged, especially over the last few months, buying up American banks. So that's reference to banks. Daniel also has two points highlighted in his own bio. One is that he has worked for Google Internationalization. I think if that's good now, yeah. And this is an independent internationalization and localization expert. And the second highlight in his career has been his involvement in discussions on localization for all. And it's a project that we did at the Localization Research Center with our students last year, where we had weekly video conferences with experts around the world on localization for all. Part of the outcome of that project is this year's conference. So, without further ado, and again, thank you for coming, Daniel.
Hey, thank you very much. I'll try to make it quickly because I think in 20 minutes we have a ceremony. So I'll do it as fast as possible. Basically, this talk is very general, and I'm trying to do an overview. There's no new information. I think that everything in those slides you know, and just maybe another perspective about this info. So let's start with the riddle. Okay, I'll show you 3 slides and then I have a question for you. So the first one is actually related to my previous employer, Google mission statement. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. This is taken from the corporate homepage. The second slide is Microsoft's mission statement, enabling people and business around the world to realize their full potential. Big words. The third one I took from Sun mission statement, to create the technology and fuel the communities that power the participation aid. So after the 3 mission statement has a riddle, if you can tell me, someone in the audience, what is the core business of Google, the core business of Microsoft, and the core business of Sun? Sorry? What?
Making money.
Exactly. It's a paid one, by the way. So this is the core value. It's a sad answer, maybe. Actually, so making money and actually a lot of it. We can talk about those companies and other. Maybe it's a sad and true. Those are publicly held companies with clear objectives and goals. And the bottom line is money. And I have an example from an Israeli company called Elbit Vision. Vision system. Elbit, maybe you know, it's a company that developed those even helmet and weapons. There's a helmet that the pilot can just look at the target and the missile will go. No, I'm always wondering what's wrong with if the pilot is like scratching something. But anyway, and Elbit Vision, they were developing an imaging system, such MRI and ultrasound. And the core business right now is money. So they moved to real estate. So it's still called, sorry, not the Elbit Vision, Elbit imaging system, but core business, they're building in New York and everywhere around the world. There's nothing to weapons, nothing to do to imaging system. Because it's a company which is held by the public and they need to do money. So after showing this slide, I had the first conclusion, and it's not because I'm Jewish. Money is important. And I think that the phrasing is money is the only thing that really counts in this whole business. So, why company localize their product? So this is the usual answer, I think, yeah? Dollar, which is completely wrong. And not because the prices of the dollar right now, but because we'll see the focus, where are the markets? So this is really a wrong answer. And I would say that this is taken from Wikipedia, and this is the internet users percentage of each country population. So we see that the blue, or the darker, is the more internet usage we have in those countries. So of course, North America, everyone is using the internet for everything. And in other countries that we will focus later, such those countries, actually almost nobody is using the internet. And if they're using the internet, it's really a very low amount of people, a low percentage. But this is a very important chart, because in the next slide, I would like to show you some figures about the user distribution, and this is an important one. So can you hear me without? So we see that in North America, the penetration is about 70–75%. But the percentage of the users in the world is less than 20%. Whereas in Asia, the penetration is only 15%, but they are already almost 40%. So just imagine what will happen when the penetration will go up here. What will be this number? What will be this figure? And the same is regarding Africa and others. So this is a better answer why companies are localizing their product. And I think that I have even a better one as that. Even the shekel, the Israeli currency. We need to localize because we need to sell it to other countries, to new markets. And the conclusion that everyone knows that the biggest income potential, I'm not saying today, but potential income, is outside of North America. And it's nothing to do with the crisis of the last months and things like that. This is really a trend that is going, and I think that everyone knows it for years, and that's the reason that we're in the localization business, because we know that the potential for income is coming outside from North America. So, a little bit about the internet user distribution. So I took it also from Google official blog. We picked the 40 languages read by over 98% of the internet users. They have some initiative for 40 language, let's localize everything in 40 language, and other companies are doing the same. And the goal of this initiative is actually to reach the maximum coverage of the internet user. So, the next conclusion that if you're not an internet user, you do. And I think this is also very certain. Going back in this slide, think about those people here. They're not internet users. So maybe there's a chicken and egg question here, but nobody cares about them. Nobody cares about other countries where there are no internet users. Let's continue. So I want to say a few words about the long tail. This is a theory that tells that actually if this is the potential revenue, potential user, or potential whatever, and this is by country or region or markets. And usually people will cut here and say, well, let's focus on those markets because we have the maximum potential of revenue. We should just use this part. And everyone is focusing on this part. But if you look on the integral of this long tail, it might be the same size and even bigger of only this part. And the idea is to focus on the long tail. And there are several reasons for that. First, nobody is focusing on those markets. So it will be easier to penetrate to those markets. Second, come on, let's be nice to those people because nobody is focusing on them. And third, and I will describe it, that the long tail changes shape during time. So going back, if we focus on dominating those markets that nobody cares about them, in the future they will change the shape. And some of the marketplaces will shift actually to this side. And those people that will be in this area will win, will gain a lot because they own those markets. So as I mentioned, the long tail change is shaped during time, and more internet users are outside North America and Western Europe. I want to give an example again from Google. The search is translated into 116 pages. You should try it. There's Bo. Do you know this language? This is the Swedish chef from the Muppet Show. You have Klingon, and this is because many nerds are using Google. Another engine. You have other languages which maybe there are no markets, but this is actually not only to show demos, not only to demonstrate the capabilities, but also a way to approach those long tail. Now, maybe Klingon is not a very good idea, but other languages are. It's a very good idea for other languages. But is it really useful? And in my humble opinion, not very. Because we're missing content in those languages. And as James described, the content is becoming a growing factor. If there's no content, and as I will show immediately, there's no point to that. So localizing UI is nice, but far from being enough. We need also to localize content. And I'll give several examples. So there's a company in Israel called Alphabet.com that they were presenting in TechCrunch 50 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And they have a method to localize and translate automatically and do post-editing using crowdsourcing of blogs. And this is another idea. Let's take the blog and give everyone the opportunity to read those blogs. I'm wondering about the content. Should it be only localized or let's say even culturalized? I know it's a bad term, but we need to adapt. And the idea of blogs, if there's a blog which fits North America, we need to fit this blog and to change it that it will fit also other markets. Because not everyone is interested in, I don't know, like some games or things which interest people in North America. We need also to change a little bit and adapt those blogs. But basically, I think content should be localized too, and we need to put focus on that. So, the incentive for companies, and not only Google, but also for the blog sphere and for everyone, the more localized content that we have, the more user we have. The more localized content, the more content to index in the search engine of Yahoo, of Microsoft, of the blog sphere. The more index content, the more search, and the more user. The more user, the more search, the more revenue. And that's the reason that I think that we need to focus on content. I want to give also some word about this initiative called One Laptop Per Child. It's a great and wonderful initiative. Let's build a very, very cheap laptop. Costs less than $100. We'll give it to everyone around the world, and then we'll have more internet users. I think it was Steve Ballmer, or I can't recall, that said, how can we get the next billion user? We have a billion user, let's have the next billion user. Oh, somebody from Intel or whatever. Yeah. So let's just give them laptop. And I think they're missing the content in those target laptops. And I call it, I think those laptops are being used for what I call the 3G, which is not the third generation, but games, gambling, and girls. Because there's no content, and the only thing that we can do is now, with those laptops, which are maybe connected somehow to the internet, is do some gaming, gambling, and porn, or whatever, but there's no real content. And I think that our mission is to bring content, and let's go back to this slide. We need to bring not only internet there, but we need to think about content for those people everywhere. And there's an initiative of Asia Online right now to translate Wikipedia to, I think, 7 languages in those areas. And to bring content to those people. So we need to focus on that. So, my conclusion is that everyone will focus in the future on the localizing content. And also, as you mentioned, James, that it's a growing factor. How to get more localized content, so I think we'll discuss it also tomorrow, crowdsourcing. And I think we'll see more initiatives for crowdsourcing and more platform to enable crowdsourcing. This post in CNET discussed about the Google Translation Center. It was, I don't know if it's a leak or whatever, but it's out there somehow. And there is a post describing this platform, which I think is also interesting to read. And just a word about crowdsourcing. I know that this is the subject for tomorrow, so I have another 3 minutes. So there is a model called Maslow, the natural hierarchy of need. It was a researcher, I think, 60 years ago, and he described the needs of a human being. And our physical needs, it's difficult to read, but it's food, water, really the things which are really essential. And this is the first need that need to be satisfied. Because if they are not satisfied, we cannot continue and do more things and go try to satisfy the other needs. We need water, we need food. We need then safety or security. We need shelter, we need some stability. And then we need, once this is satisfied, we need some social needs. Maybe family, friends, community. And once all those needs are satisfied, we can go to the upper level, which is ego, or self-esteem, to contribute. And the other one is self-actualization, the need for development, for creativity. And this can be achieved or reached only when all those needs are satisfied. And I think this is somehow the profile of the contributors of crowdsourcing. They're not looking for money. They're not looking for friends. They're not looking for stability. They're not doing it for their daily life, for the bread and butter. They're looking for something, to be part of something which is bigger, something which is important. And it's somehow, somewhere either in the ego or the self-actualization. And if we want to build, in my opinion, if we want to build a platform for crowdsourcing, we need to think about those contributors that will help us to do crowdsourcing. I know that tomorrow there's a talk, I think by Facebook, about proactive crowdsourcing. So I want just to say one word about this, which is not related to my talk, but I want to say it anyway. Basically, everyone is concerned about the quality of crowdsourcing. And I want you to do the next exercise. If you go to a bookshop and you look at the different books, I think you will find that about 95% of the books are, I wouldn't say bad quality, but I don't want to use bad words, but only 5% are really worse, the paper that I'm reading on. And we'll go to a magazine shop and a newspaper shop, we'll find also there's 95% of the content is really bad. If we go to a disc shop or a music shop, we'll find the same rule, 95%. On the TV, clearly 95% at least is just a nightmare. So the sad news are that 95% of the content that's generated by the human being is very bad, at least. And now in this digital era that we have more content produced, so relatively we still keep the 95%, 95% and 5% relation, but just we have more of this. And I think this will apply also about crowdsourcing. We'll have bad things, but the things which are important will always stay in those 5%, and we'll have good quality for them. It's just, I think, a rule of nature. Nothing to do with technology. Conclusion 5. Individual will be happy to contribute to crowdsourcing localization. And I think those are the good news. And as I mentioned, the incentive is completely psychological, it's not financial. So, summary, I have less than -1 minute. Don't let anyone to hold your money, drive the industry of localization. dollar is out, and not because the prices of the last months, but just because we need to focus on other markets. Internet users are the celebrities, and this is true. The focus, as I mentioned, will be on localizing content, and we can count on the cloud to help us, and this is a very important one. And now I have a more depressing summary, I think much better, that enterprises are driven by money, but not consumer. And time for question or celebration?
Well, thank you very much. We can take a few questions.
Daniel, my name is Martin Orsted. I'm from Microsoft.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's cool. Well, the quick question to you would be, what is Flow Tech driven by, if not money? But the major point is, I think you can get big corporations to contribute to more, to create more languages. I was just forwarded last night an article from Asian Wall Street or something like that, where Wall Street Journal in Asia and Microsoft and Google were taking number 1 and 2 there. And one of the reasons they quoted was that analyst says Microsoft's high ranking probably has to do with the effort it puts into localizing products. In India alone, Microsoft has made 14 local language packs that people can download for free. So in other words, the incentive for us as a company then becomes, okay, we get recognition, and the other thing you try, because being in the localization industry, you want to do as many languages as you possibly can. So what you try to do at the same time is say, okay, can I come up with creative ways of driving down the cost? Crowdsourcing is one thing, there are other ways, so that you can actually serve those markets. Would you agree with that?
Well, you asked 2 questions. So first, for the last one, yes, I agree. I think that this is, no, I'm not too, I was maybe a bit too cynical about Microsoft and the others. But no, clearly, first I want to say a word about Microsoft. The fact that my mother-in-law can send emails thanks to Microsoft, and earlier it was like this. So, so clearly that those initiatives, I agree completely with what you mentioned, that those big companies, those enterprises can actually help us to go to those new markets. As I mentioned, it's clear that the incentive somehow is money, because in the end it will be more users. But we need those platforms, those companies to help us actually to get there. And the focus, what I'm trying to say here, is that the focus should be only on the application, but a lot about the content. And there's a lot of content there, and it's really that it's very expensive to translate it, and we need to minimize costs, and the idea is really crowdsourcing and something like that. And just regarding your first question, yes, local tech, it's going back to this hierarchy, so stability, shelter, so this is to satisfy this one. Okay? More question? Yes.
My name is I'm from TCD, and I have 2 questions. So one of them, you mentioned about the initiative about the 1 output per child, but actually a lot of people now are accessing the web through the mobile phones. So people in Africa are actually buying a lot of mobile phones. Your former employer actually released that in the generation mobile phone. So what's your view on that? Do you really need to sort of change the technology, or is there already potential for these people to browse the website?
I think mobile phone is a brilliant example. So first, if we'll go back to this map of the world, I'm not sure that if we'll do the same statistic about mobile phone use coverage, we'll get the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the fact that if we're using mobile phone on the internet, we'll get the same. So we need, if we want to provide mobile phone for everyone here, we need also to think about the content. So it's not only calls, you just mentioned. If you want, let's go take the example of iMode. iMode is a platform developed by entity Docomo to deliver content and kind of browse on the internet. And it's very successful in Japan. The main reason that they were really focusing on the content that will be delivered. And now in other countries, I think in France or Germany, in other places, they put the iMode platform, which is really cool, but it didn't work really. The reason that we were missing content. So I think it's using the mobile phone. So this is the first thing that we need to remember. Not everyone has them. And if you want the mobile phone to work, you need to adapt to both. You need to have content. I'll take the example of Apple, the iPhone, which is really cool and everything. I think that one of the most important things that Apple is doing right now is to promote the development tools and the content development tools for the iPhone. So everyone will create and generate content for iPhone, and more people will use it. And I think they also even, I read some courses for developers for free, just develop how to develop content for iPhones. So it comes back always to the content.
Okay, thank you very much again, Daniel. I think you have to leave it here, but you could obviously follow up with Daniel during the breaks and this evening. Thank you again to our two speakers, James Guides and Daniel Goldschmidt. Before you go for your break, I would just like to invite the sponsors of the